You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we're here to talk about the more or less the end of the IPL group stage. Mumbai Indians have beaten Delhi Capitals to seal the last playoff spot. And Max, once we've got through all the IPL action, we'll move on to England v Zimbabwe. We know the England team now. We'll go through it. We'll discuss who's going to be dropped for Jacob Bethel, which was hinted strongly by Ben Stokes earlier on today. I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined by Max. How you doing, Max?
Hello. Yeah, very good. Nice to have our closure on the IPL. Those 4 spots now decided. Only another week or so of league games to go now before we get to the good stuff. So we can put our feet up and watch some Test cricket. It's actually quite nicely timed, isn't it? It was very nice of the IPL to do that for us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's 7 more matches for people who are, not following the IPL, maybe tuned in to hear some England news. There are 7 more IPL games. The thing which is up for grabs really is the top 2, and I think Mumbai can make the top 2. 4 teams could make the top 2, and that is an advantage, but it's less of an advantage than actually making the playoffs in the first place. That's what it is. Before we get going, a reminder: you can support the Cricket Podcast by heading to patreon.com/the Cricket Pod. That's on the screen now. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe. If you are there, you can head to the show notes and also click a link. And if you've been listening to our Better Help ads on the podcast platforms, again, like and subscribe. You can find the link to that in the show notes as well. Max, let's talk about the cricket. We'll blast through today's game. Well, actually, no, we can take our time with today's game. We'll blast through yesterday's wooden spoon, the bum scraper game from yesterday. We'll talk about that shortly, a little bit afterwards.
That's going to sound really weird for anyone who wasn't listening on Monday. Probably might sound weird to those people anyway. Mumbai versus Delhi, the big showdown for that final spot. They went face to face to see who could clinch spot 4 in the playoffs for now. Mumbai batted first. They got off to a decent start. They lost Rohit Sharma, but Will Jacks biffed a few 4s. Ryan Rickleton hit a couple of 6s, and they were on their merry way. But once they both fell, things ground to a bit of a halt in the middle overs. Tilak Varma went at a run a ball. Suryakumar Yadav was anchoring the innings, and they were looking like coming to a fairly paltry score by the end of it. But Suryakumar Yadav blasted off the shackles and went ballistic in the last few overs alongside Namandir, who finished 24 off 8 deliveries to propel the Mumbai Indians to 180 for 5, which not your classical high score, batting first at the Wankhede, but given the way the pitch was playing and the struggles that Mumbai were having, it turned out to be a pretty good score in the end. And in reply, the Delhi Capitals lost a few early wickets to the hands of Trent Boult, Deepak Chahar. Then there was a stumping off Will Jacks after some fairly tasty spin bowling. And Santner got the ball gripping and ripped out the heart of that Delhi Capitals batting lineup, either side of some counter punching from Vippy Boy, who hit some fairly unusual and quite stupendous shots. Samir Rizvi gave it a good go, but it was all over when they fell, and it was left for Bumrah to have a little bit of fun at the tail's expense, and it was all over rather quickly. 121 all out, a 59-run win for Mumbai. Very impressive performance from them in a sort of a winner-takes-all game, and on they go to the playoffs.
Yeah, the first thing I'd say, we've got the correct top 4. Don't always get that in the IPL. There's some fine margins, but I think the 4 teams that are going through have clearly, Max, been better than the 6 teams that will be heading home. It looked a bit dicey for Mumbai. They've lost a bunch of. I mean, they've lost, I think, 3 or 4 matches in kind of like the last over or 2. I mean, they arguably are the best team themselves, but had to beat Delhi, didn't they, today?
Well, they were 1
destiny.
1 4 from their first 5 games, so I don't quite know what was going on there. I suppose a lack of Jasprit Bumrah may have been something to do with things.
Yeah.
Because, him coming back has presided with a run of 7 wins in 8. It's a bit of a juggernaut going now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a juggernaut. And you, if we're going to narrow down our focus to this game, you kind of got that feeling with the ball. It felt even from it felt from the beginning, to be honest, that King Legend and Faf du Plessis were going to have to do quite a lot of the heavy lifting. So when Faf is out in, I think it was the second over, knocking one down the throat of Long On, the whole game rested on KL, and he went the over afterwards. And really, if you look at the list of players that Delhi have got to send in, you can argue, if you're a Delhi fan, that they bat deep, and that's probably true. But I don't think they bat fat and deep, if that makes sense. Like
They've got a lot of number 6s in the middle order and a few number 8s.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is a little bit like that, unfortunately for them. I mean, that's maybe doing a disservice to Tristan Stubbs, but even him. I mean, when did he come in? Let's find out. So Stubbs bats 6. He comes in at 55 for 4. Big ask for Tristan Stubbs to pull that off like it. And against the you called them a juggernaut. They picked the perfect team pretty much for this match. They also tactically kind of got the super sub, impact sub spot on by holding that back to see whether the pitch would take a lot of turn. It did. They brought in an extra spinner. I mean, as it happens, they only bowled 8 overs of spin, but they gave themselves the option to bowl 12, and it probably could fairly have done that. The pitch was ragging all over the place. Mitch Santner bowled spectacularly, and Bumrah, as you were saying, it's not really a fair fight, is it? The bottom order to Jasprit Bumrah when you need 13 and over. So they got everything right in this game, and deserve to go through. I would say Max. The big talking point, probably, or maybe not the big talking point, the star of the show from the bowling perspective, Mitchell Santner, 4 overs, 11 for 3. Didn't have the greatest start to the tournament, but showing his worth at the tail end, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously he's a seasoned campaigner. He knows what he's doing, but it's a change of a bit of a change of venue for him, isn't it? He's been at CSK for quite a long time, not always played, so maybe there was just a bit of adjusting to be done. And also, let's face it, the kinds of pitches that Mumbai tend to play on at home can be fairly high scoring. So it's a tough ask for a lot of spinners in Mumbai. But I think not just this game. A couple of the recent games for Mumbai have been a little bit more in favour of the bowlers and giving it a little bit more grip. And he's never. I suppose he's never been I wouldn't say he's not a prodigious turner of the ball, but you think about Mitch Santner and you probably think about skill and control rather than someone who turns it square. But he was ragging it today. And there was one particular wicket which I really enjoyed, was when he bowled Samir Rizvi, when he held the pace back. It was at 90 Ks to start with, and then the next ball was down at 78. And Samir Rizvi was through the shot about 3 hours early, and it was funny. It was a delight to see. But yeah, he was brilliant, and bowled with all of the control that you need in a game like this, and fair play to him. I feel like there's a team in yellow that maybe would have liked his services this year, the way their season has gone, but hey, they're lost. Mumbai's gain. Yeah,
Mumbai Reclamation Project. The commentary were really loving it. Like, there were some absolutely great lines about Santner. Mitch Santner, the magician. Never heard that one before. Probably will never hear.
Is that
it
what?
again.
That would be a snooker name, wouldn't it? Mitch the Magician Santner.
Yes. Yeah. This is why we all love watching Mitch Santner again. That wasn't on the bingo card.
I love it. I love the commentary. It's amazing. It's like one thing happens and suddenly it just becomes like, oh, this is the thing that always happens. Someone takes a catch. It's like, he's always had a safe pair of hands in the field. Last week he dropped 7, but it doesn't matter. He's caught this one. He's such a great fielder. It does.
At one point, someone said, "This is why I used to love watching Shane Warne."
Yeah.
Which
similar.
Yeah,
similar
really. I mean,
Left
Santner
hand,
was
right
bowling.
hand, glasses, no glasses, really thin, quite fat. They're similar.
I mean, I'd like Santner. It was a great spell of bowling. If he didn't win man of the match, I'm not sure. What the panel are smoking. But yeah, the commentary really went all in on him. Another person who deserves some credit, Max, the umpire for the stumping decision. Did you see this?
I did. Yeah, I did see that. You promised a 5-minute diatribe.
I'm not
about
gonna.
this,
Yeah, look, I could talk for 5 minutes about this. I just thought it was very good by the umpire. Like for people who didn't see it, it was one of those ones where the batsman is stretching, his toe comes up and it doesn't come down, and because of the angle of the camera, at first it looks like he has taken it down, and the freeze frame looks like he's in. But if you roll it 2 frames further forward, you can see when the toe actually does make an impact, and he gave him out. And I think there was a moment there where I was like, this is going to be an absolutely shocking decision made by a man who doesn't know how to use technology. But third umpire, whoever he was, he came through. So whoever the third umpire, if someone knows who the third umpire is, put it in the chat. We need to give this man some credit. Chris Gaffney. Credit to Chris Gaffney. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. Got it right, got it spot on. So well done to him, and obviously well done to Rickleton as well behind.
I thought video jack didn't count as technology. That was my understanding of the use of reviews.
Is that a thing?
Do you remember the? It's a really bad callback to the
all right.
the BGT. Was it
Rishad?
Oh, Jaiswal, that's the one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and was it Sonny G was railing against the
yes.
You can't be if you've got technology, you should use it. Like, well, they did.
Yeah.
He looked at the video and they used their eyes.
Yeah.
And that's what they did here.
They videoed him hitting it to the wicketkeeper and then they gave him out. Yeah. That was all good. I also like Max, and then we'll get back to some actual talking points, I suppose. The no ball for incorrect field setting. The rare no ball for an incorrect field. So it was actually 2 great victories for the umpire. Ball after one ball for the wicket, and then the very next ball, Hardick set an illegal field and got pinged for it. So round of applause for the umps, I say.
Yeah, we don't do that often enough, do we? We don't credit the officials. We're always complaining about bad decisions. So yeah, let's call it out. Well done to the men in. Well, they're not in white, are they? In the IPL,
I think umpires in cricket actually get a very good deal when it comes to
compared to football referees,
match officials. Yeah, or just any other sport. People like in tennis, they just get fucking prima donnas swearing at them the whole time, don't they? Sitting up on that chair, taking flack. Like, that's not a good job. Rugby, nobody knows the rules to that, so everyone's angry at them the whole time. In cricket, though, I think the reason for it is that they're personalities, and they're supposed to be personalities. Like everyone likes a personality umpire. Like, it's not a backseat job. Like a good referee in football is one you don't notice in cricket, and a good umpire is one that makes some superstar decisions. I think that's my take on it. Like other umpiring views are.
I think idiosyncrasies is the most important thing for me when it comes to an umpire. You got to have a thing, haven't you? Whether it's the finger of death or the crooked finger or standing on one leg, you got to have a thing.
Other thing from this game, Suryakumar Yadav, he was good.
Yeah, he was batting. It happens quite often with Suryakumar Yadav, doesn't it? He was basically just playing a different game to everyone else. It was super impressive, and he was the man of the match in the end. And to be fair, if anyone was going to get it, there wasn't Mitch Santner. I would say Sky would be the guy. Because he did change the game for Mumbai because they were trundling along and it wasn't going so well.
Look, I kind of get it. I think that a spell of we were talking about this the other day. If you were a bowler and you take 3 wickets for 11, you're more likely to win any given game of cricket than if you're a batter who gets 73 or 40.
Yeah, an economy rate of 2.75 is pretty obscene. Like that's 250 strike rate territory, I reckon. That kind of bowling. But you have to remember, point one, there's the batsman bias. You're always going to get that bias when it comes to man of the match. And the second one that I think people often fall into the trap of when thinking about who's man of the match is what happened first. It's like, well, if Suryakumar Yadav didn't score that 70, Mitchell Santner wouldn't have had the opportunity to bowl 4 overs, 3 for 11. And I'm not saying that's a correct way of approaching making the decision of man of the match, but I think it's a trap that people fall into quite a lot. But either way, Suryakumar Yadav was immense, and his record this IPL is pretty astounding. That was his highest score, wasn't it? His previous highest score was like 69, and he's in like the top.
I'm not sure.
I think he's in the top 5 on the orange cap race, or there or thereabouts, and he's done it with he's third. He's third now, and he's done it with just 50s. Yeah, 4 50s, no hundreds, and a high score of 73, averaging 73.
That's good batting. He's good at batting.
Yeah,
Max, we'll quickly get through. We'll quickly get through yesterday's game as well, just for the sake of completionism. Chennai batted first. They got 187. Rajasthan Royals batted second. They won. Any thoughts?
Yes. Well, Chennai got what was a good score for them if they were at home, which they sort of were, except they weren't. They were at Delhi, and 187 for 8 in the first innings at Delhi isn't a good score, and Rajasthan Royals showed that. The Child did it again, another 50, 57 or 33, good. Dhruv Jarrell, bit of sugar on top. Yeah, it was quite good from Rajasthan in the chase. They batted well. When they come up against someone their own size, they look a bit like a better outfit, don't they? This was
a game. This was the one game I had confidence they would win. 187, and so the Super Kings, they made a bit of a meal of getting to 187 as well. You always felt that there were probably a few more runs out there. Look, it's Rajasthan. They could have fucked it up. They tried at one point, I think.
They did. There was a little wobble. There's always a wobble.
But not this time. Chennai are just too bad, I think, at cricket to win any games. And I think, Max, we're talking about Mumbai deserving to go through, the top 4 being correct. I would also say the bottom 2 definitely correct this year. Maybe a bit harsh on Rajasthan, but I feel like, if you can't win simple games of cricket, you deserve to be in the bottom 2. Is that fair?
I think so. I mean, CSK definitely deserve to be bottom. They have been abject, like truly abject. I think Rajasthan have been unlucky in a few cases, but like it is a fair point to make that a lot of that is self-inflicted. Like some of the decision making that they made in those key moments in those games, that super over fiasco in particular, springs to mind. I think that's fair enough. But I do look at SRH and think that they're in with a shout of they might even finish 6th, and that's
5th.
They could finish 5th.
Yeah,
that would be a pretty tragic thing to have happened the way they've played as well. Although they've given us moments, haven't they? At least of insanity. Abhishek's had his days out.
Yeah, that's true. Max, anything else on the IPL before we move on? I mean, I don't think there's any point previewing any of the matches that are coming up.
No, I think
test match.
The only thing is that with the fixtures coming up, it's just to, I suppose, to look at whether there's any that are, well, 6.4 pointers, so to speak. And there aren't really. Mumbai Punjab Kings is the only one where you can really steal a march on your opponents in the race for the top 2. But the rest of it, Gujarat are playing CSK, RCB are playing Sunrisers, Gujarat are also playing LSG. So, I mean, Gujarat have got 2 games where they should really wrap it up and finish in that top 2 quite comfortably, especially with the 1 point advantage they have. So, yeah, it's it'd be not. I think I would prefer. I don't know about you. I would probably prefer like 4 games that are utterly meaningless and 3 games where it's the top 4, 2 of the top 4 facing off against each other, rather than almost every game does kind of matter because it's got one of the big teams in it, but they're just sort of, I don't know, slightly interesting rather than 1 or 2 being genuinely worth tuning into.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you would prefer meaningful cricket. It's one of the first times I think in the IPL
Been over so early.
that it has kind of been over so early. Normally, I mean, it looked like we were going to have a great IPL with about half of the season done. Like, I think it helps if there are two teams that are crap that everyone's beating. Like, I do think that enhances the race at the top of the table. But like, kind of unfortunately, I think the candle had to be carried by Delhi and Lucknow, and I think they were two of the three teams that we said had a good chance of finishing bottom of the table. And
Yeah,
frankly, in the games that mattered, they played like that. They had both had very good starts to the season, but in the games that the 5 matches to run in, they've won one of those 10 matches between them. And I wouldn't be surprised if you went back through them all. Whether, in fact, let's do this. Was the one game that Lucknow and Delhi have won between them a game between Lucknow and Delhi? I think it might have been, Max. Yeah. Pretty crap. Pretty crap stuff. There we are. Look, season kind of over. But there's plenty to play for. I mean, there's the playoffs is going to happen, so everyone can have a nice rest, sign a bunch of new players, and go again next week. We're going to take a break, then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about England v Zimbabwe.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast. Time to talk England. Do you want the playing 11, Max? Let's just dive straight into it.
England have announced it, haven't they? Go for it. Let's go.
Yes, there aren't any. There's no major news. Is the short answer. So skip ahead 10 seconds if you know the team or can guess the team. Zach Crawley, Ben Duckett, Ollie Pope, Joe Root, Harry Brook, Ben Stokes, Jamie Smith, and then the bowling will be Gus Atkinson, Sam Cook, Josh Tong, still not sure on that one. Shoaib Bashir, who presumably is along for just a nice day out. The match will be taking place at Trent Bridge. But first of all, it's good, isn't it, that we've got some Test cricket back? Like it's nice when it's like the summer really begins. I think
it is, isn't it? It feels like the summer started. Yeah, there's it's just a nice change in the air. You feel. It's just everything gets a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit sunnier. You hope that the weather holds out. Usually, the first game of Test cricket in England presides over a week of rain, but it looks like we might be okay. Had a look at the forecast for Nottingham for the next 4 days. I think it's going to be all right. There's a bit of rain around in the south of England, but hopefully we'll be okay for a full game of cricket. So yeah, it's nice. It's good to see. And I think, as far as the side goes, on the England side of things, Sam Cook is the one that's the most interesting to look out for, isn't he? Most of the batting is the batting that we've seen. And, we've seen Josh Tong a few times. And unfortunately for him, he's had injury problems. I'm sure they will resurface again because that's what happens when you're an England bowler. But Sam Cook is the guy, isn't he, that people have been clamouring to see in an England shirt for a while. Wondered whether he'll ever get the opportunity. So now is his chance to make his mark.
Yeah, I mean, basically, that's it. If you haven't seen or heard about Sam Cook before, he's an Essex bowler from Essex, I think. If you care about where people are born, some people
Chelmsford.
From Chelmsford. In his career so far, Max, 89 first-class matches, 321 wickets. That's a good number of wickets per game, and an average of under 20. Could he be? And you might be hearing this here first. Could he be England's Bumrah? Question mark.
I thought you were going to go the next James Anderson. He called me England's next Bumrah. I think he's got enough of a record to suggest he could be quite good at Test cricket, and he's obviously suffered from the fact that Stuart Broad and James Anderson and Chris Wokes have been around in an England shirt for a long time, and they're all bowlers who bowl pace and swing it and move it around, and he's not made the cut in that time. And then when it all rolls around and they retire and he has his opportunity, England have this weird fascination with people who can bowl 90 miles an hour, and therefore didn't get straight in as the next cab off the rank, which I think in another era he probably would have done. Because I mean, you can say what you like about the standard of red ball cricket or whatever, but he's been playing. He plays for Essex. Essex have been good for quite a number of years, playing in Div 1, and he's averaging 20 in nearly 90 games. Like, if that's not evidence of someone who's good at cricket and should probably be getting a go for England, then I don't really know what is. But he's finally got his chance. I am really looking forward to seeing him get a go. But I think, like I said last time, you almost get that feeling. It's like if he doesn't, come out of the game with 10 wickets, it'll feel like he hasn't done enough or something, which would be obviously nonsense. So I hope it's not just, he gets to go now because Chris Woakes is coming back to fitness and stuff. I hope it's England do have a proper look at him.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think it would be good if he played a few tests over the summer. It's kind of weird the way England have sort of pivoted to pace about a decade after it would have been useful. So they're doing this. I mean, obviously for Australian reasons, they want to go down under with a bunch of quick bowlers and take a load of poles. But that isn't, anyone who's watched the BGT or Shamar Joseph destroying Australia last year, or even the pace that some of the Australian bowlers bowl now, can probably tell you that the cricket has shifted a little bit down under, and that since they redesigned the Kookaburra ball, the Sam Cook type bowler is probably a more viable option to take there than he has been, maybe for the 20 years previous. Like, there was definitely an era where quick tall guys was the way. But I'm not saying that Sam Cook's. I'm not saying here, like, I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I'm not saying that Sam Cook's going to go down under and take a bazillion wickets like that. That isn't how it works. But there is more scope, I think, for a skillful bowler, and he is probably the most skillful bowler on the county circuit at the moment to go to Australia and be effective. Like, I don't think you just need flat out gas, and it would be interesting. But I agree with you. I hope that England do persist with him and do at least give him a few matches this summer. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure that's what they'll do.
No, I'm not hopeful that is what England will do. I expect Chris Woakes will just come straight in, and it'll be. I think Josh Tong is probably ahead of Sam Cook in the pecking order.
I think that's true.
Until Mark Wood comes in and bowls and falls apart after 2 games. It's going to be this, it'll be the same old merry-go-round that we always see. But I mean, you took the point you're making about the pace not necessarily being the be-all and end-all in Australia. All you have to do is remember a guy called Glenn McGrath. Do you remember him? He wasn't very fast. He's quite good though.
He was tall, though.
He was tall.
He was tall.
Yeah.
Sam Cook isn't tall.
Release points are very important. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can put Sam Cook on some stilts or get him some of those like high shoes.
You could have Sam Cook and Sam Curran with like one of those big coats.
Yeah. Now we're talking. I'm interested to see Tong back in. Tong, I'm going to get it wrong lots of times this summer. I'm interested to see him back in the side as well. He's had a very good beginning to the county championship. He's picked up a couple of fifers in the 3 matches he's played in. Terrorizing the county circuit. So potentially we'll see some good things from him. Good things from him as well. Max, what's your view on Zimbabwe? Like, what's the result of this match going to be?
Well, I think it would be fairly silly to predict anything other than an England victory. We've got Blessing Musrabani is the guy to look out for Zimbabwe. Has been trailed, I think, by you on Monday, and also various people in English media. He's the hot ticket in Test cricket this year, isn't he? He's raced to 50 wickets in his first 18 games, was it? And he looks good. He is very tall. He's 6'8", so he certainly would be a pick for down under if he were English. But yeah, I mean, obviously the rest of the side, it's going to be interesting to see how they get on. They'll probably struggle at times. They did play a warm up against a sort of county 11, and it didn't go that well. They lost by 138 runs against a side that sports a few names who some people probably haven't heard of, which isn't necessarily a great side. I mean, most of that side is being picked for the England Lions when they play India when they start touring. So, it's not like a bunch of nobodies, but, it's a fairly lower level English county side, and they did get fairly well beaten by them. But, it's tough, isn't it? Not being used to Test cricket in England, coming over playing a game. So it's good that they've got that in their system and they're not coming in cold for the one-off. But hopefully they can spring a few surprises and make a fist of it. Wouldn't be the first time that England have had a wobble against a lower ranked side. But yeah, I'm sure England will win. But it's more about the spectacle, isn't it? It's more about the opportunity for Zimbabwe, the opportunity to see Zimbabwe in England for the first time in 22 years. So it marks a bit of a shift, doesn't it, and a change in that side of things. So I'm looking forward to it, regardless of whether it's a foregone conclusion or not. Like you say, it's Test cricket. It's a new team. It's something different, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, it should be. I mean, like the Trent Bridge is a good ground to host this as well. I think if this had been at Lords, it could have been very one-sided. I feel like if you're a team that haven't played at Lords, then you can get caught out quite badly by the conditions there. Which
are good at Lords either, are they? So maybe it's
that's fair. But I think Trent Bridge is a good venue for this. There is I spoke about it earlier. Ben Stokes said today, more or less, that Jacob Bethel was highly, highly likely to come back in at number 3 for England. Does that put? Well, who does that put under pressure? Does that put Pope under pressure? Does that put Crawley under pressure? If Ben Stokes can bowl, are they going to go for some wacky thing where they play them all and only go with 4 bowlers? What's going to happen with Bethel and the rest of the summer?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the obvious would be like for like, wouldn't it? With just Ollie Pope coming out, but he's the vice captain, so. And they made that call. And if they made that call for a reason, either they don't view the vice captaincy as that important. But bearing in mind, Ben Stokes is a guy who's, probably not going to be able to play every game, has injury issues. Although I suppose he'll always talk a good game about his recovery and his fitness and how much cricket he can play when he. So maybe there's just a level of not believing that that's ever the case and that the vice captaincy doesn't mean much, but I don't know. I don't get that sense. All right, I don't get the sense that they chose Ollie Pope as vice captain just on a whim. It felt more like something that they were going to try and pursue long term as a captaincy option. And yeah, I mean, if there's one player who's should be on the chop for the form that they've had and the form that is, well, the form they had recently for England and in the county circuit, then it would be Zach Crawley. But then you're like, well, who's opening the batting? That's all a very good question. So the only other wildcard option, I suppose, Jack, would be Shad Bashir, and you muddle through Jacob Bethel and Joe Root with left arm and right arm part-time spin options, and that feels like a very England thing to do as well, doesn't it? But it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't. There's not an obvious answer to me aside from Ollie Pope. And there's something in me that feels like that isn't the right answer. So,
I I think this depends on how seriously you think England take being an opener as a specialist skill.
Yeah.
If you think that they value that, then Ollie Pope, I think, is under the most pressure.
Mhm.
If you think they couldn't care less, then I think it's actually quite likely that either Bethel or Pope is opening the batting for India, which would be kind of
Kind of
mad.
bonkers.
But they've done this before. I mean,
it would get Pope out the firing line of the spinners, though, wouldn't it?
it's a thing with precedent from an England perspective. They've used Dan Lawrence as an opener before. Who opened the batting when Crawley was injured earlier? What was it last year? Moeen Ali. Did Moeen Ali open the batting, or did he bat three? Moeen Ali batted three in 2023.
For
But
the Ashes,
when
it was Dan Lawrence last year, like you said.
I thought Crawley had another injury, but maybe I'm in my mind. Last year was longer ago than it is, and that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I think you're right. So I don't. Yeah, I mean, what am I saying? I think that it wouldn't blow my mind. It will blow some people's mind, but it wouldn't blow my mind if Bethel was opening the batting against India. Like I can definitely see that as a scenario. I think as well it might set up like an actual like shootout between the two of them in this Zimbabwe match, which would be kind of interesting from an England perspective. Look, if one of them manages to get a score, I think England. So England basically fired all their analysts, didn't they? Like Freddie Wild and Nathan Lehman don't work for England anymore. I mean, I say fired, but I'm sure they've got some people doing video or whatever. And Stokes was like, "I'm a gut feel man."
The numbers stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're a gut feel man, then I think you've probably really rate form and how good someone looked in their last match. And so I think that I am leaning towards a situation where Bethel is playing as either the opener or the number 3 in a straight swap. Shoaib Bashir is a question for another day. I think there's potentially an extremely painful summer ahead for him, but let's hope for the best.
I don't know what England are going to do about Shoaib Bashir, because I mean, obviously they're giving him rope, and they obviously believe in him. But we're getting to a point now where we're not many tests away from the Ashes, which is the focus, the whole thing. Everything England are building towards is the Ashes in Australia, and Shoaib Bashir is in there because he has a high release point, and he did take quite a few wickets in his first few Test matches, but he has completely fallen off a cliff. He's gone on loan from Somerset to Glamorgan and taken 2 wickets in 3 games in that spell.
For 300.
To 300 in Division 2 of the County Championship. And they're going to have to make a decision. And if they make that decision after 3 games of the India series and just have to take a punt on someone else, then that's a whole load of time wasted, essentially, isn't it? And there's a whole, I don't know, I get a sense that there's a sunk costs fallacy issue on the horizon where England will stick with it because they've tried it so far. And
that could be true.
Interesting.
The other scenario is that they know that Jack Leach is the fullback, and
that's true.
They think that Jack Leach would be a substandard bowler to take to Australia, and so they're still hoping that Shoaib Bashir comes through. But if he doesn't, they know, like if you take Jack Leach to Australia, he'll probably take some wickets and average about 40. Probably won't get smacked more than once, which is okay. It's not going to win you the Ashes, but it probably won't. As an individual, he probably won't lose you the Ashes either. And I think maybe they want a little bit more from their spinner. But Shoaib Bashir's bad like his last 2 tests, 2 for 110 and 2 for 170. Then he went on an A tour where he picked up 2 for 90 in one game and 1 for 100 in the next. Then he played Lions game against Australia A, 1 for 74. And then there's the 2 for 300 so far this county season. Like that's
it's not
that's
very
a very
good.
very poor run of form. I mean, like
it's really not very good at all.
People love talking about low scoring Crawley innings, and there are many of them, and the people are right to highlight that England have got an opener that does like quite a lot of bad cricket, but I wouldn't say he was as bad as that. You know, Crawley this season. At least he's got 350s in county cricket. Like it's not. There's a duck and 2 1s in there as well. His highest first inning score is 6, but he's got some.
There's something. There's something in there.
Yeah, there is something there. Look, I think that's probably enough for the pod.
Yeah, I've just got chili in my eye as well, so I'm.
Oh, you fool!
Yeah,
that would be painful. We're going to wrap up there, and yeah, maybe
there was a question actually before we go.
Let's do the
Jack,
question.
you can answer. Just,
Yeah.
I think it's probably relating to the no ball thing that you pointed out earlier in the IPL. Imran was asking why 2 fielders behind the crease on the leg side aren't allowed, or more than 2 rather.
I think it's 3. Yeah, more than 2. It's because of body line, isn't it? Basically, it's because Douglas Jardine tried to knock Bradman's block off and was actually quite successful at it, but it created a boring game. It wasn't really so much danger. I mean, like people will say, "Oh, you know, it means you might kill batsmen." It's not really so much that. It's just that if you bowl down the leg side loads, there's only one place you can hit the ball, and if you put all your fielders there and the ball only goes there, you've got a dull game of cricket. So
yeah,
they changed the rules. I think it's basically the same as the LBW rule, isn't it? Like it's it's an entertainment rule rather than one that logically makes sense to people.
Yeah.
Go I'm not even sure that's why it's called
Bodyline series if you want to know more about that.
I was only half watching the game. I think it might have been because they had too many fielders on the leg side. I'm not actually because the field was they had a leg slip of 45, and I thought the short leg might have been in front of the square. I wasn't watching closely enough.
Would it have been too many people outside the circle? Because that does
No,
happen.
it definitely wasn't that. But then the rest of the field was a short mid wicket, long on, I think, and a square leg or a deep square leg or something like that. So there was like 3 guys on the offside, and I'm not 100% sure. I didn't bother looking at the rules, so I didn't want to get into it in loads of detail. But we've described why the first rule is like it is. The second rule will be something similar because you don't want people to just bowl into people's pads and have only one side of the field available to batters. But I think it might have been something to do with having too many fielders on the leg side. But again, I'm not 100% sure why the no ball was called because I was watching it with the volume down at that point. Anyway, that is the pod.
Good.
Bye-bye.